This is the third video on using Minolta 35mm lenses on Sony Alpha digital single lens reflex cameras. What we're going to do is we're going to get into actual examples of a lens on one of the cameras. But what I'd like to talk to you initially about is not all of the Sigma lenses, the older Sigma lenses will not work on the Sony without being what they call rechipped. And quite often that is additional money. You got to wait back and while the lens is being rechipped and so on and so forth. It's basically a new program put in the lens. The Minolta lenses do not require this. And so if you stick with a Maxxum lens, that's MAXXUM lens, you're going to basically be in good shape. Before we get started, I want to talk about a characteristic of a lens that I find very important, and that's called the bokeh of the lens. Bokeh is the quality of the out of focus portion of the picture. That is, if you're doing a depth of field example and the portion that is out of focus, you want to be pleasing and unique. That is referred to as the bokeh of the picture, which is the out of focus portion. The top example here, what you're going to see is you're going to see bad bokeh, where basically you're getting optical artifacts that are entered in to the out of focus portion that are really not there. Below that, we have good bokeh, even though it's a black and white picture. The same thing would be in color. But the good bokeh, the background is smooth and is free from the optical, or the bad backgrounds that some optics will produce. So bokeh is something to always consider in a lens. And your more expensive lenses, the better lenses, the Minolta lenses, usually have very good bokeh. Here is the image, or here is the lens that we're about to test. This is a Minolta 35 to 70mm zoom autofocus. It came off a Maxxum 7000 camera. It's an f4 lens with macro. We're going to test both the short and the long end of the zoom, the macro and the detail on both an 850 and a 300. This lens was made about 1985, but I found an absolute pristine example, and I love it. I love it on my 850. So let's test it. Here's that lens mounted on an 850 at the 70mm telephoto range. The only thing I had on the camera was a polarizing filter, and I basically did almost no retouching, and it was shot at f14 at an ASA of or an ISO of 400. Here's that lens mounted on an A300, an Alpha 300 camera, with the APS-C sensor size. If you notice, it took that 70mm lens and actually made it a 105mm because of the smaller crop size. The image is a little bit brighter because the sun was peeking in and out of the clouds. Otherwise, it's everything is identical. Here's that same lens on the 850 in macro mode. If you notice, I don't know if you can see it here, but all these images are basically amazingly sharp and are of excellent quality. But this is the 850 on that 35 by 70 Minolta zoom in macro mode. Here is the same lens on an A300 in macro mode. If you notice, the view is slightly different because of the APS-C sensor size versus the full frame 35. But otherwise, I've left these pictures pretty well untouched. so that you could see the differences. Here's that 35 millimeter to 70 millimeter Minolta lens in the widest angle mode. I apologize. I'm sorry. I had a polarizing filter on there that did a little bit of vignetting. But this is that camera on the 850. This is that lens in 35 millimeter zoom position on the 850, and I wish you could see the thing in person because it's absolutely well saturated, detailed, and it's wonderful. Here's the same lens on a Alpha 300. If you notice, we don't have the vignetting in the corners because it's just taking the center of the image because of the difference in the crop factor on that basically the difference in sensor size. On the A300, it's taking more of the center of the picture, and where on the A850 it's full frame, so it's taking the entire image produced by that lens. But again, spectacular results. Don't let that crop factor put you off. All you do is you take the lens, multiply the focal lengths time with 1.5, and they work absolutely phenomenally on the smaller sensor size. The thing to keep in mind, though, is the automatic distance integration with the flash. You will have to shoot in TTL mode and not use the ADI mode on the flash. Please understand that I take better pictures than these, but I shot this picture to show the bokeh on that particular lens. What you'll find is the bokeh on all the Minolta lenses is usually from good to excellent. Here we have basically no optical artifacts that are introduced on that on that image. So I'm very pleased with it. Well, I certainly thank you for watching this video. I hope it helps you. I love the Sony Alpha cameras. I'm a Nikon guy, but I am really getting spoiled by the Sonys real quick, especially that 850. That is a wonderful camera. There's a lot of value in these Sony cameras. I am really getting spoiled by them. Please visit my site. You'll see it at the end here, www.photolink, that's FOTOLINQ.com, for more stuff on image processing and cameras. And we're going to do a few more videos on the Sony Alpha series, especially on the flash and some of the manual features. Thank you very much for watching.